Hello, and welcome to my very special video. This is a best of 2022 video. It's going to go over what I personally think are the best moments from all of my videos I've made this year. And I mainly wanted to make this video because, this is the year when I started doing YouTube. I wasn't doing it before this, but then one day I decided, I'm gonna play Dark Souls and record it. And then, I sort of made a hobby out of it. And I don't plan on stopping it anytime soon, so I think it'd be interesting if at some point in my life I could look back at this video and look at all of my humor, all of my dumb edits, and then I can look at what I'm working on currently and think, oh, wow, I've developed since then. This is cool. And yeah, with that out of the way, I'll go ahead and stop blabbering and allow you to get to the video. And just a little hint, uh, don't worry, the microphone quality gets better later in the video. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Good morning everyone, I hope you're having a splendid day. My day hasn't been so splendid as I found out that my cat is pregnant. So now I have to try and figure out a way to sneak a birth control pill into my cat's food. Stubbing my toe on this chest, I look inside to find a pair of iron boots. These will make the stepping on children minigame very easy when we get to it later on. But if you're watching this video, that probably means that you're hearing voices at night. You might also be hearing footsteps upstairs when you're trying to sleep. You might also hear Joel Osteen preaching when you listen to your baby monitor. I then began my migration to the Great Deku Tree so I can fulfill my janitorial duties. Now I know you're probably sitting there at home thinking, listen you dumb, dumb, stupid man. I know how to banish spirits. I played Luigi's Mansion before. And there is but one answer that I can give to your statement. However, that answer that I have, it's very rude and, I don't want to hurt your feelings, so I'm not going to say it. And let me be clear. If I find out who got my cat pregnant, you're going to get what I like to call the World War II treatment. Enjoy your freedom while it lasts. So right here you can see that I'm being a show-off and I'm showing you my previous things. The two Brad and Brad but harder are my previous randomizers. After having a conversation with my ex, I went ahead and consumed my Gatorade, as I no longer had a use for it. Now that you have your vacuum cleaner, you're gonna need to practice. So go to your grandma's house, because, luckily, grandma likes to overdecorate. Use the vacuum cleaner to suck up all of her expensive knickknacks and table covers. She won't care, don't worry. Mine didn't. Granted, her cremation was yesterday, but, no one's gonna miss any of it. Her 50-year-old dog might try to stop you by nibbling on your legs, but don't worry, his attacks are inefficient because he lost his teeth a while ago. If the dog won't leave you alone and continues to heckle you, just go ahead and suck it into the vacuum cleaner as well. No one will miss him. I then continued my migration into the town, where I went inside of the shooting gallery. Luckily for me, I was a professional with the slingshot. I remember the first time that I encountered a hexman was during Christmas time. I went downstairs because I heard a weird sound. I heard someone going, "Woo!" So I went downstairs to check out what was going on. And when I finally got to the bottom, I saw the Hexman downstairs, and he was climbing my Christmas tree. And I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I don't know why he was doing this. Honestly, I think I might have caught him at one of those moments where, like, you do something, like, weird out of curiosity. Like, I don't know, putting pantyhose on your head or something dumb like that. But the Hexman just looked at me and he paused for a second. He stopped his wooing and he just looked at me for a couple of seconds. Then he started up his wooing again. And then he just climbed back down my Christmas tree. I then went to Site Zero, the place where my cat got pregnant. That's right. It was at Lon Lon Ranch where I got my cat pregnant. Someone else got my cat pregnant. I figure I'll be nice to you and show you my vacation photos. So as you can see here, I ran into a puddle and it was very hard to get around, so I wound up having to spend a lot of time trying to beat it. After all of those shenanigans, I went and visited my girlfriend. Did she just say she's 30 years old? She's no longer my girlfriend. Alright, I'm not gonna bore you with everything, so I'm just gonna show you my personal highlights, what I liked about the trip. Alright, here we go. Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. You're ready. Let's go. I call this one the retreat. I like to call this one, I'm Back. I mean, this one, it's just called 2. I call this one Running Through the Prison Hall with a Mace. So pressing onward, I came face to face with my drunk uncle before being abducted into heaven. Basically, if you tap A fast... Sorry about that, every animal on my block just simultaneously gave birth. That sounded gross. So after not being able to find my aunt, I went ahead and assaulted a man that was a lot taller than me. So as you can see, this fine gentleman was a little angry as he fell down. He apparently didn't have the best balance. Then in a fit of rage, he just threw me at a pot. I then visited my boy, whose name I won't mention because I respect his privacy. But for the sake of convenience, we'll call him Mr. Hands. So paying a visit to my good friend here, I decided I was going to throw a Deku nut at him. But I think that he misunderstood my intentions because he extended his love to me. Let me just say, I hope that I don't find the person that got my cat pregnant. If I were Freddie Mercury, I would be saying, Mama, I just killed a man, except my mom left, so I wouldn't say that. Instead, I would pull a soft smirk as I loom over my son, cowering in the corner. I then paid mine to more Deku shrubs, because just like the doctors who circumcised me, they had something I wanted. All of the items are randomized. As you can see, shut up. After that, I blew all of my money on sticks, as they were the only things enabling me to assault things. Lawn Chair Larry is the man depicted in this picture here. When seeing this picture for the first time, I ran to the bathroom and shattered my toilet just out of the sheer amount of fear that I felt after seeing such intrepid behavior. Despite the locals wanting to make physical contact with me, even though I've done nothing illegal, I made it to safety. I then returned to Desert Colossus. Also, I'm going to call it Spirit Temple from now on because calling it Desert Colossus is After sacrificing a goat, which, I mean, I can't show you because, YouTube guidelines, I had received a Chuck E. Cheese token because the totally real goat that I sacrificed was very high quality and voluptuous. After I fell into this hole, I came across love, which is something that I had for that goat, ergo why I sacrificed it, to prove my loyalty to Vishnu. That's right, I'm converting to Hinduism. Is it just me or does the Mario in the bottom left corner look a bit sassy? When coming in here, I used one of my 2 keys on this door, which gave me access to this room where I used this pot to kill a spider that was stuck up on the wall. And if you know how to kill a spider without using a vase, please do leave a comment. I'm tired of my mom yelling at me. Eventually, you will have completely captured the Hexman, but you've still got a problem on your hands. Somebody put a hex on you, which means that somebody's bearing a grudge, which also means it's time for some interrogation. Knock on the vacuum cleaner and offer the Hexman his freedom in exchange for a couple of names. After you get the names from the Hexman, don't release him yet, because he's still required by law to haunt you. Instead, go ahead and find out where your grudge bearer has chosen to live. After you find out where he lives, go ahead and prepare yourself for the mental trauma induced by manslaughter. If Usain Bolt was dashing towards you at alarming speeds, you would feel nothing. You see Mario sprinting towards you, you run for your life. I then went to perform the most dangerous activity there was to perform in Ocarina of Time. This is just barbaric. Given the nature of this minigame, I was very lucky to escape with my life. Things could have been a lot worse too. Instead of escaping with my life, I could have escaped with my wife. But unfortunately though, he had poor eyesight. Because of this factor, he wasn't able to become a pilot in the US Air Force. Well, yes, I do feel bad for him. I'm kinda glad as well, because if we had pilots with poor eyesight, we would start having accidental 9/11s. I then moonwalked through church, which I really hope isn't a sin. Tired of Mario looking at me like that. Now that I had bombs, I was able to break open Zora River. This gave me access to a lot of things, including a decrepit old man who sold me beans. So you have a monitor lizard and you want to kill it with your fists. The fact that you're having this problem could stem from many things, ranging from you're a hunter and you want to spice up your hunts, or a monitor lizard has been eating various things that belong to you, you've been cornered by one and you need to kill it, or a monitor lizard slept with your wife and your heart is filled with thoughts of vengeance. Looking in the Zora shop, I found the Sun Song, which was very useful, because it meant that I wouldn't have to wait for nighttime to come. How was I supposed to combat him? When I offered my fish to their god, he consumed me, just as I had planned, but unfortunately I had nothing to make headway inside of him, so I had to leave. Well, the Spinies don't even walk the correct way. If you look at the background footage, normally I'd play as Funky Kong while I play Mario Kart Wii, but to respect the Komodo dragon, I'm going to be playing as the most dinosaur-like character in the game, Birdo. Like I said, it's strictly because she's a dinosaur. No other reason why I picked her. I'm like the guy off of The Walking Dead. You know, Morgan. We all know him. After that, I took the shortcut in the Lost Woods that leads to Goron City, and it was in Goron City where I discovered a horrible truth. The lead singer of Smash Mouth had grown to colossal sizes, and he shared his bombs with me. He also assaulted me. Even if you think you have a bunch of extensive knowledge about this 200-pound slobber dinosaur, you're wrong. Shut up. This guy really thinks he can defeat me, even though I'm basically Morgan off of The Walking Dead. After performing everyone's favorite spider-related task, I got the lens of truth. This meant that I was now capable of seeing invisible things, like my dad and the family photos that are up on the wall. Rick and Shane had it out for each other. Not in the I had intercourse with your wife manner, but in the I want to have naughties with you, Rick, because there's definitely some sort of energy there between the two. I mean, we all remember the scene where Shane took Lori out into the woods and was like, I'm a better mother than you, Lori. And I think it's upsetting that the creators of The Walking Dead killed Shane off before Rick and Shane can explore those feelings for each other. It is highly important that you dispel all fear from your mind of Pablo, because if you are afraid of Pablo during your fight with him, he's gonna fold you into a paper airplane and throw you at 2 unnamed towers in New York City. Riddle me that one, atheist. Alright, this feels a lot. What the heck? Am I supposed to be playing this game? Am I gonna get demonetized? Like, is that from the original game, or is that something that was added in? Step 3. Sacrifice a lamb. This step is optional if you're strong, but let's be honest. Your wheelchair-bound grandpa that's watching Jeopardy downstairs right now could probably beat you in a fight. So you're gonna need some help in this fight. Go ahead and dial up your boy Jesus H. Christ. Tell him that you're gonna send a lamb his way, and in return you want a strength upgrade. To kill the lamb, just stomp on it until it looks like a large pile of applesauce. That man has nothing to do with the Mario, I know. After expressing dominance by teleporting in the church, I scuttled my way over to the Master's Sword, because I was ready to go through puberty. If I were Plankton from hit children's TV show SpongeBob, I would be saying, oh my goodness, because I had no idea Link was gonna turn into such a hunk. There's a shark? This game has everything. Now I know you're sitting there wondering, well, what am I gonna do with the carcass now? Well, you can do many things with it, my little being. You can wear Pablo's skull to ward off other Komodo dragons. This also has the added effect of warding off females more than usual, so it's a 2-in-1 package. You can also just swing it around by its tail. That's what I like to do with mine, but I won't judge you if you want to do something else with it. Who is that? I need to save her. She's drowning. That being said, he told his girlfriend about his ambitions, and then they went out and they purchased 45 weather balloons. On July 2nd, 1982, Larry attached 43 of the weather balloons to his lawn chair. I'm not sure what he did with the other 2, but I know better than to question a man like Larry. Look at him. How does he do that? Sharks don't jump that high out of the water. What about these sharks here? Was it God, perhaps? The pellet gun he took was so that he could shoot the balloons when he wanted to go down. I don't know about you, but I would be horrified if Carl from the movie Up just got out a shotgun and then climbed onto his roof and started shooting down the balloons. That little Asian kid, I think his name is Russell, he would have jumped out of he would have just jumped. He would have just jumped off the house if he saw an old man pulling out a shotgun. And I wouldn't blame him. I don't like the idea of the elderly being armed either. Where am I now? What is... Who is this man? Sorry about that. I had to usher all the elves that I've employed out of my room. He had sandwiches to satiate his hunger. He had beer with him because what else are you supposed to drink when you're in a lawn chair? And lastly, He had a camera with him so that he could make any non-believers feel stupid. What's happening? Mario, what are you doing? Get off the ground. If you're watching this, that means you've committed a crime and now you're stuck in a jail cell with some guy who is named Jared, and we'll just say that he likes to tickle people without their consent. And this Jared guy is constantly shooting you looks that are full of thoughts of lust and infidelity. Mycalic Jackthus, aka a demon. But even though the plastic man was such a kind person, he loved everyone, everyone loved him, he had a big problem: drugs. One day the plastic man overdosed and went to heaven. And as God looked down at his new roommate and said, "Yo, what up?" the plastic man looked up at God and he smiled. And then what he said next was heard even from Earth. He looked up at God, he smiled, and he said, "It was beautiful, but unfortunately, the note was too high." The plastic man's note began sending heaven higher, although he did not ascend alongside heaven. I'm going to teach you how to survive amongst the leaders of the prison and how to tear Jared a new hole in a way that he won't enjoy. I think I just lost a power-up. What the heck? What is going on in this game? I am very unclear. That was racist. Eventually, his love faded, but his bitterness grew. Eventually, the plastic man let out all of his malice by way of his laugh, and then he began walking in a way that defied all physics. On June 25th, 2012, Michael Jackson had become the first person to no-clip back into reality. Whoa! I'm killing it! As a young boy growing up in the hood, I spent many years committing infractions. You know, the usual type of stuff. Like jaywalking, fistfights, going 125 miles in a school zone, pushing Grandpa down the stairs for my physics project. I then went to the restroom because I wanted to wash my hands, and then, from one of the stalls, I heard. I then checked all of the stalls, and I found nothing. Right, who is this man? He looks like somebody who should be golfing. His pants are probably also going to be weirdly shaped because he has to hide all of his wares down there so that the prison guards don't apprehend him. Go ahead and go up to the merchant and ask him for a peek at his wares. If he begins taking the things out of his pants, do not do business with him. I repeat, do not do business with him. It is unsafe. He's removing them from his pants because he expects you to come closer to take a closer look at them. Why does he want you to come closer, you're asking? Because he wants to grab you. But why would he want to grab you? I can hear you also asking. Well, if you're wearing a wig, it'll remind him of Julia. I think Mario has scoliosis. He has definitely seen better days. And out from behind a corner came one of my peers, my fellow ghost hunters. They were running from something. And then, out from behind the corner came this dark, well, I guess not really dark. So can I just walk across the floor? No, I can't. If I do, racism ensues. Racism still ensued. Take the tiny dead bird and hide it in his pillowcase. Now you're just gonna have to wait. Eventually, Jared will contract an uncurable disease. Go ahead and get rid of the baby bird so that no one suspects foul play. Now I bet you're sitting there thinking, this is great. Now I can sit here and wait for the disease to take its course. You're a genius. To that I say yes and no. First of all, well, yeah, I'm a genius. But second of all, haven't you ever heard of modern medicine? I know I said incurable disease, but that was a lie. I just wanted to say incurable because it's a fun word to say. The medical staff is going to save his life harder than they've ever saved a life ever before. And it's your job to end his life, harder than anyone's ever ended a life before. Now that you have jacked fingers, you can also defeat that Asian kid at school named Roger who's been stealing all of your chocolate milk at lunch. Just approach him with the same hot dog that you've been using for the past 2 years, and then throw it at him like it's a throwing knife. Gee whiz, I bet Roger now looks very silly with that hot dog sticking out of his forehead. An unidentified object has been sighted flying over Los Angeles. Go ahead and grab Jared by the hair. Bring him over to the toilet and give him Who's texting? Anyways, go ahead and grab Jared by the hair and bring him over to the toilet. And then just give him swirlies over and over again. Don't worry, eventually he'll forget how to live. Go get a hot dog from the kitchen and start twirling it like a pen while listening to Hello by OMFG. So what you're gonna be doing should look something like this. Congratulations, now you can sleep at night without having to listen to the sweat drip off your roommate's fat rolls. And he goes over, he grabs like this 10-year-old boy out of the family. Like he puts his right hand on the kid's right leg and his left hand on his right arm, and he just tosses the kid into water. And the way he throws the kid, I mean, it's just like, it's very mesmerizing. I mean, like the swaying motion he enacted, it was very cool. I remember back when I was doing this, I tackled the Pope into an open door and then locked it quickly so that his bodyguards couldn't get in. Now that it's just you and the Pope, you need to run for cover, because the Pope was issued a gun for safety. Now if you're a Christian like me, this next step may be a little hard, but if you want to escape from prison, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. Go ahead and grab that chalk and draw a pentagram on the ground. I taught you how to enter the prison economy, now I'm gonna teach you how to enter the underworld economy. And then I watched as these 15 robots all started clamoring over each other to try and get their cold, lifeless metallic hands on this 10-year-old Mexican boy so that they can try and save him from drowning, you know? Which, I mean, the kid was standing in knee-deep water, by the way. He didn't need to be saved from drowning. Go up to a tree and knock it down with your fingers. If they aren't strong enough to do so, go and dig up Roger. You're gonna take the hot dog out of his forehead and then train for another 2 months. Why don't you go ahead and buckle that belt of yours, because by the end of this, you're gonna be covered in dirt, ectoplasm, which, I mean, ectoplasm is just ghost pee. You're also gonna possibly be covered in spray paint and grime. A lot of grime. Buenos dias, muchacho. Come a tu esposa como rein y plenio cometer adulterio con ella. Why did I think trying to speak Spanish would be a good idea?
Buenos días, muchacho. Tomé a tu esposa como rehén y planeo cometer adulterio con ella.
What the heck? Allow me to read this ad for you. Consult our spirit healer in USA. Get well-balanced physical and mental health. Heal your pain. Free yourself from worries. Call us now. Save time. Quick and fast solution. 24/7 service available. Get your all problem. What is an all problem? I don't know what an all problem is. Anyways, effective results. Assured result. 100% privacy. Most satisfied customers. Efficient solutions. 24/7 available. Services, black magic removal, negative energy removal, evil spirit removal. Get your ex back. I kid you not, this is an actual ad that I found on YouTube, and they had a phone number attached, so I'm gonna go ahead and call them and see what they're about. Hello, yeah, you guys deal with evil energy and black magic, right? Man, I guess they really do deal with black magic. Now the tiger is swinging you around by your neck and you need to ward it away. To do this, let's take a note out of Joe Rogan's book. Doing this will scare away the tiger. Now luckily for you, being autistic isn't Ted's entire thing. He also has very unique and complex traits about him. For example, he likes to play poker. He also likes to smoke cigarettes in other people's cars without asking first. The tiger could have been angered by many things. For example, the tiger could have got laid off at work and then decided he wanted to take his anger out on you. The tiger could have just thought you were ugly. And then, lastly, the tiger could have thought one of 3 things. Number 1, I bet I could take that twig of a being in a fight. Number 2, I bet I could take that cholesterol wealthy being in a fight. And lastly, I bet I could take that paralyzed and or machine-bound person in a fight. In all of my encounters with tigers, they usually target me because I'm located within an iron lung. In fact, I'll let you listen to my iron lung. Hold on. Oh, crap, that sound. I can't remember what my doctor said it meant. The demon you'll be summoning is named Ted. Ted has autism. However, Ted will still be able to sufficiently beat anyone who stands in your way of escape. I played guitar at a nursing home, and after I started playing, an old man started looking around frantically while grunting. He had tears in his eyes and was looking around to try and find out who was projecting all of this god juice into his old disgusting ears. Unfortunately, though, his body couldn't handle the force of him whipping his neck around, so he died. You're eventually gonna fall asleep. But there's just one problem. You're in the middle of a grassland. In Africa. The robot brings him ashore. He like slams him down on the ground and he opens up his chest and takes out like an oxygen canister that was like bigger than the 10-year-old Mexican child itself. I should probably preface here that it was the robot opening his chest. The robot wasn't opening the 10-year-old boy's chest and taking out an oxygen canister. And after all that, if you still don't believe me and you're sitting there thinking, then I'm sorry, because I don't know what to tell you. After all, I don't speak the language of fools. So the family, they're like sitting there, they're watching, the mom's screaming. She's like, "Oh, please get off of my son." Since Ted is autistic, he's what we would call a sped demon. That means he's gonna start flailing around and doing a whole bunch of demon things. All of the prisoners, the prison guards, pretty much everyone is gonna start panicking. Not because of the demon things, but because of the autistic things. So as you can infer, I'm pretty good with music. If you don't believe me, why don't we take a look at one of my past students that I taught and see how she's doing? If you're crying after that, don't worry, I won't make fun of you this time. He was originally going to be charged for not having this thing called a certificate of airworthiness, but the charge was then dropped because apparently it didn't apply to his class of aircraft. I don't know if I'm the only person who finds it dumb that they're referring to a lawn chair as an aircraft, but I don't know. Something about it just seems wrong to me, even though it does properly fit under the classification of aircraft. Also, when I look up aircraft definition, why is the third option a picture of a plane about to crash? If your child begins purchasing body pillows and katanas, they are slowly becoming a weeaboo. If this happens, lock them in the basement before abandoning the family. No, don't worry. I know what you're doing. I know that you're probably sitting there thinking, "Hey, wait a minute. Isn't that a bit extreme?" And if you're thinking that way, lock them in the basement, but don't abandon the family yet. Eventually, you'll hear a soft and somber knock at the door. Don't answer it. Eventually, you'll hear it. Your weeaboo child will begin saying, "Cammy hammy hey," to try and break down the door. If I have to explain to you why this is a red flag, go ahead and lock yourself in the basement as well. In fact, if you ask your parents, they might tell you that they remember some sort of news broadcast covering the story. In fact, I'm actually going to go ask my grandma about it right now. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. My grandma said that she didn't remember anything about it. And, what? Why do I feel like I'm on the verge of tears? Is it really that heartbreaking? Having a stick will enable you to do many things. Such things include treating it as a companion. You can also fend off wild animals with it. You can also fend off local tribesmen with it. This ritual is everything but a cakewalk. That being said, let's go ahead and go over what you shouldn't be doing during the ritual. First things first, the ritual is going to be taking place inside of a circle that the Pope drew on the ground. Don't step out of the circle, because if you do, the ritual is going to end. Don't listen to the voices. If you do, disregard what you heard, or else it will turn to ash. Do not acknowledge the chinchilla that keeps staring daggers at you. Do not put the Weezer album in the cassette player. Do not drive around in the vehicle frame. Do not play Mario Kart with the now undead Sigmund Freud. And lastly, Don't play Superman 64. That's just good advice in general. This man disappeared for 2 days. He was then spotted flying in a lawn chair above the ocean and then was never seen again. What a Chad move. I want to be remembered like this. Imagine this. You walk into your child's room and I mean you just want to tell them that dinner's ready, you know? You just want to tell them dinner's ready. But then you see it. The fursuit. If your child has chosen to become a furry, go ahead and apply for a firearm permit. Do not lock them in the basement as you cannot risk their escape. Lure your child into the backyard using a can of baked beans, and then put that firearm permit of yours to work. Anyways, that's actually all I have for today. So, if you enjoyed, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, any of that. I won't force you to. I don't want to force you to. I might have to, but jokes aside, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you have a good day. And to convince him to bestow musical prowess upon you, go ahead and challenge him to a trial of combat. The god of music will then accept your challenge, as he is full of himself and in denial of the fact that he is elderly. During the trial, just club him into a pile of ash using your guitar. Even in his current state, the god of music may still be too stubborn to admit defeat. If this happens, just threaten to key his car. For those of you who don't know, his car is the vehicle frame that I told you not to drive earlier. Doing this will make him fearful, as he doesn't want his car's resale value to go down. Due to his fearfulness, he should now be rewarding you with musical prowess. Now I know that you're sitting there thinking,
What am I going to do with a latex glove? It's not food.
and I'm here to tell you that you're dead wrong. When considering the predicament that you're in, you should be very quick to accept that by the end of your ordeal, that latex glove is going to be resting soundly inside of your belly. Next, we're going to be talking about Adelier Antonio de Carli. Adelier was a Roman Brazilian Catholic priest. I don't know why, but whenever I read something about a priest trying something interesting, it always seems to end in their death. And this story is no exception. Hello, salutations, what up, how you been? Oh, you've been good? Oh, that's nice to hear. Anyways, so today we're going to be learning about fathering children, not mothering children, because I'm not a female. I can't speak from experience on mothering children, so I won't be teaching you that. Now, knowing you, you're probably sitting there thinking,
You should just go ahead and teach me how to escape. I mean, I'm sinking to the center of the earth, and if you don't teach me how to escape, I'm gonna die.
and if you're choosing to think like this, stop. You had time to pull out an electronic device and look up, how do I escape quicksand? By the end of this video, you'll be able to run to your mom and say, hey mom, I've learned how to capture, skin, and cook fish. And in response, she'll probably give you this look. And now I know what you're doing. You're sitting there and you're thinking, oh, what do you know about raising children? I bet you don't even know the first step. And to that idiotic and not to mention incorrect statement, I say, no, you are wrong. The first step to fathering children is manufacturing one, which unfortunately you do need a female for. But luckily for me, I'm extremely hot. Since the quicksand that you got yourself stuck in is located inside of the jungle, you have a whole armada of animals to worry about. One such animal is the most dangerous of them all, the camel. And I know what you're currently doing. You're probably just sitting there in your mom's basement going, shut up, I know how to capture fish. I saw a nature documentary in school today. And to that, I ask you to do me a favor. Can you go look in the mirror and think about your past and all of your relationships and then slowly forget how to breathe for me? I mean, I pick up girls on a regular basis. Why, I remember just last week I saw a particularly pretty female specimen, so I approached her, and and I told her, hey, I thought you were very pretty, and I was wondering if you'd maybe like to hang out at some point. And after I said this, she looked up at me and she said,
No.
luckily, she didn't have a say in the matter, and you can bet your bottom buck that a camel is on its way to your location. And I mean, that's not a good thing. Every camel to ever walk this earth has thoughts of nothing but consumption, sleep, and infidelity. Fishing is a very complex and unstable sport, which could result in many things, including but not limited to severe gashes, new countries, grandpa falling down the stairs again, a feeling of rage that results in you pushing your grandpa down the stairs again, and adultery. So now that you've acquired yourself a partner and you've performed a mating ritual with them, you have now acquired a child. When the camel charges you, halt him by putting a stick in his mouth. Now that the stick is in his mouth, you have him right where you want him. Since you have low mobility on account of being stuck in the quicksand, this next part may be difficult. However, you just need to try and do your best. I need you to brush that camel's teeth. It's not weird, it's just science. But anyways, yeah, drag your reward back to land, because now we're going to be filleting it. However, before we do, there may still be a problem. Your fish may not be dead. If you did a really good job, you may have dragged the alive fish back to land. For instance, I'm a professional, so my flaccid fester is still alive. In fact, I'm going to put him on the mic right now. Bro, I swear on my mom that if I get out of this situation, I'm going to go on a mass genocide or something because of your actions in particular. Bush did 9/11, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Alright, shut up, you're annoying. Shut up! Gee whiz, that guy sure was weird, am I right? Let's start with getting them fed. I personally recommend chewing their food up for them and then feeding it to them like they're a baby bird, because when they're younger, this will save you the money that you would have to spend on baby food, and when they get older, it gives you an excuse to make out with your daughter. Camels view teeth brushing as a sign of affection, and now having had his teeth brushed, the camel will return home, as he now needs to contemplate his marital status. The next option you have is by using a grill. However, be sure not to use your bare hands when flipping the fish. My grandpa made the mistake of doing this one time, and then a German Shepherd broke into our backyard and tore him to shreds. Now let's talk about schooling needs. Go ahead and buy your child a thermos and fill it with corrosive acid. Filling the thermos with corrosive acid is necessary, because if your child gets bullied in school, and somebody takes their lunch, you can listen to your child with a smirk as they tell you about how Connor from school slowly turned into a pile of goop. Now let's worry about getting your kids vaccinated. If you don't want to get your kids vaccinated and you're anti-vax, have fun trying to pull a smirk because Connor won't be the only one who slowly turns into a pile of goop. The tribesmen will now come at you with full force to punish you for your crimes, and it is your job to show them that you are not to be trifled with. If you have a pocket knife with you, go ahead and sharpen that stick of yours. If any of you out there have experience with spearmanship, then this next part should be remarkably easy for you. No, there's no twist. You're literally just gonna kill all of them. Anyways, that's all I had for today. And what? Wait a minute. He's still alive? Wait, gosh dang it! I have to put you. No, I'm not gonna put. I'm not. Just shut up. Gee whiz. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting really tired of him. My 8-year-old son that I'm currently raising has a bad habit of removing all of his clothes and then riding the family dog as if it's some sort of stallion. And I know that you're sitting there doing your usual shtick and thinking,
The tribesmen are people who have trained with weapons their whole lives. I can't possibly defeat them.
And to that, I say, shut up. Shut up. Your statements get more and more meaningless by the day. You have fallen into their pit of holy sand. Ergo, your actions are sacrilege. Ergo, the tribesmen are going to try and retrieve you alive so they can strap you to a little tyke's car and sacrifice you to their god. This stage is difficult because your son now has the gall to defy you. Stare at your son. If he says anything, ignore him. If he tries to stand up, grab his head and push him back down. After 3 minutes of silence, speak up and tell him, you will bear no children until you move out. If he says no, put on your brass knuckles and give him a right hook.
Hello.
Hello. You guys deal with dark spirits and black magic and that sort of thing, right? I was wondering if you could help me out with this thing. I think I might have like some negative energy or like an evil spirit or something here. And I was wondering if you could help me explain, like understand it.
Okay, I can help you with that. I can clear it. I'm an expert in that, and I'm a professional spiritual healer at clearing bad energy and bad evil spirits, so I can help you. What is exactly happening to you? Are you feeling anything inside you, or something is touching you, or anything you're feeling, or anything happening bad to your life? Can you explain me your situation, please?
So what's happening is I come home from work every day, and my wife, I come to her bedroom door, and she's always like, she has the bedroom door shut, and she's always screaming with the door shut, and eventually I'm like banging on the door, and I get her to open it up, and she she keeps acting very weird after she opens it up, and I don't know, something about it seems off, and it keeps giving me this really bad feeling.
Okay. So, is it you're living in your own house, or is it a rental, or
It's my own house.
so? How long you been facing this same issue? Can I know, please?
I've been facing it for about, like I'd say 3 months now.
3 months.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think anybody have done this to you before, or this is the first time happening to you, or do you feel like is there anybody behind this?
Um, I'm not really sure.
Okay, I can help you with that, no problem. Because some situation, my dear sister, we may not know what's happening,
Well,
but some.
I don't mean to be rude, but I'm not a female. I'm a guy.
Okay.
You will now be the one to replace Grandpa's IV bag every day. If he says no, repeat the process given in question 1. Never use a left hook on him. The left brass knuckle is just for show. This part comes with another issue. Men. Other hormonal teenagers are going to start flirting with your daughter. If your daughter asks you if her new boyfriend can come over for dinner, tell her yes. After giving her your response, proceed to purchase every firearm you can possibly find, and then mount them on a hard-to-avoid wall in your house. This will ensure that he sees them. At dinner, be sure to stare directly into his eyes as you baby bird feed your daughter. Doing this will express dominance. Anyways, that's all I really have for now. But you can tune in next week when I teach you how to discipline that pesky gerbil of yours. And if you found this tutorial to be useful, go ahead and stick around next week when I teach you how to give that pesky gerbil of yours some proper adhesive. Tune in next week when I teach you how to overthrow that pesky gerbil of yours. Tune in next week when I teach the Planck constant to that pesky gerbil of yours. Tune in next week when I teach the law of equivalent exchange to that pesky gerbil of yours. Tune in at a later date when I teach that pesky gerbil of yours how to make applesauce. But yeah, tune in next week when I teach you how to efficiently clean up all those pesky gerbil skins lying around the house. And tune in next week when I teach that pesky gerbil of yours how to make some black tar heroin. Tune in next week when I teach you how to reconstruct that pesky gerbil of yours. Yes. Very, very cool content indeed. Anyways, you're here. You've made it through the gauntlet. You've finished watching the video. I'm surprised that you put yourself through that for that long. But anyways, self-defamation aside, I would like to genuinely thank you for sitting through all of that because it means that you enjoyed it. Unless you just skip to the end of the video, which in case I'll know. John. But yeah, if you did enjoy this, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you thought of the video, anything like that. You know, not gonna force you to. Uh, okay, I'm gonna force you. But anyways, jokes aside, thank you for watching again. I really do appreciate it. And if you'd like, tune in next time when I teach you how to pulverize that pesky gerbil of yours for eating all of the food in the house. Thank you, and I hope you have a good 2023.